Today, I wanted to talk to you guys about something. A lot of people are interested in building or working on their own guitars, but it's kind of intimidating, right? It's a little scary. You don't know what you're doing, and you don't want to mess up something nice. You know, if you have a nice guitar, you don't want to go playing around with it or waste a lot of money building something if you don't know how. And I mean, there are a plethora of places where you can buy guitar parts or pickups or all kinds of stuff. And, you know, it can be a little, like I said, a little intimidating. And I get that. I fully understand how a person could be a little concerned about messing with an instrument because you don't want to mess it up. So a good place to start is with kit guitars, right? There are lots of places to buy them. I bought mine. I did a kit guitar a while ago. I bought it from Thomann Music. It's a Harley Benton. But they sell them on Amazon, and they sell them on eBay, and they sell them at a lot of different, places, and they're all pretty close to the same kind of thing. And the cool thing about a kit guitar is you can get your feet wet for not a lot of money on actually like building a guitar and messing around with it and learning how to do those things, so that if later you want to upgrade it, it's kind of demystified. You know, you don't mind pulling the pickups out of your kit guitar because you put them in there in the first place. So it gets a little less complicated to you. You kind of don't mind fiddling with it as much. And as you get better at it, at playing with these things, you don't mind fiddling with your other instruments. And that's a good skill to have, because, hey, you can get a cheap, crappy guitar and turn it into a really good one. I did a video about my Firefly Les Paul, about setting it up and how just learning how to do a setup made such a huge difference on it. But I'll go over how to build a kit guitar, just so that it demystifies it a bit. I want you guys to build your own instruments. I want you guys to not be afraid of it. And real quick, if you like this video, hit subscribe, hit like, show me some love here, baby. And we'll have more stuff like this and more songs and stuff in the future. But on to the guitar here. I bought this. It's a Harley Benton DC, dual cut. It's their, two cutouts on it. It's like an SG style guitar. I wanted a yellow SG. And, they don't really sell yellow SGs. I mean, I'm sure there's some out there, but I couldn't find one, especially nothing I could afford. And I thought it'd be fun to build it myself. So I have my yellow guitar. And obviously it didn't come put together like this. The whole point of a kit guitar is it came in pieces. And the first thing I did was I went to my local discount hardware store and got some cheap paint. Because I just figured, it's all rock and roll. Let's do it cheap and dirty, right? Got spray paint, gray primer, and I wanted yellow. And I found some, it was called Implement Yellow, for doing tractors and school buses and stuff like that. Farm implements. But it's cool. I like it. So it was pretty easy with the body. Now, of course, you can leave it bare wood. It comes just as bare wood, kind of like I left the headstock bare. And I could have painted that yellow, but I didn't. So I took the body and went outside and set up a folding table with a couple paper shopping bags, laid it down, filled in the cavities, the neck pocket and the cavities for the pickups with paper towels, and taped over it a little bit just to hold it in place. Did the same with the electronics cavity in the back. Laid it down and went over it with gray primer on the top and sides, let it dry, flipped it over, same on the back. Let it dry, flipped it over, did a coat of yellow, top and sides, did a coat of yellow on the back, and when it dried, did a second coat on the top, second coat on the back. I mean, that's pretty simple stuff. And then let it dry, Pretty easy stuff. I think I put like 3 or 4 coats on it of yellow paint. And it came out pretty good. I did sand it a little bit before I started painting, but that's just because there were a couple rough spots. And there's still, like, right in the cut here, there's still a little bit of rough spot. Could have sanded it better. A lot of the kit guitars like this one also come with a little bit of a coating on them So you kind of want to sand that a little bit rough so it holds the paint better. But the painting was pretty easy. I just, rattle can, spray paint, baby. And then it actually came with instructions, which made it pretty easy. Obviously, the neck just came with the little plate and the screws, and you screw it on. One thing about the neck, you gotta, even after you're done, check it a time or two. You're gonna end up tightening it up another, at least once or twice more, as everything settles into place. Tuners, not terribly hard. They have a little bolt on the top of each one, or a nut and a washer that holds it in place. You basically put it in place. It's got these have one wood screw each to hold them in, and they pre-drilled all the holes. So put a screw in to hold the tuner in place, and a nut and a washer on the top for each one. And that was it. I forget if I had to put the knobs on or not, but they have just one little screw holding them in place. All the holes were pre-drilled, so that made it real easy. And you got the cover for the truss rod, and that just screws into place. And now before I put the neck on, I bought some fret polish and polished all the frets first. The frets were a little bit dull. I'm guessing it's been sitting in a warehouse a while. So I got that, I think it's called Lizard Spit. They got that on Amazon, and they got other fret polishing kits on Amazon. And usually they either come with the tape to tape in between the frets, or they come with like a little thing, a little insert that goes over the fret so that you just polish the fret. And, they make it pretty easy. Most of those kits have instructions. But anyway, once I got that done, the electronics went in, and that came pre-wired wiring harness. Put it in the back. Obviously, his cover wasn't on there. You put it on after you're done. But the electronics, you want to make sure you get all the knobs in right. So I believe these had, there's a nut and a washer that holds these knobs in, or the electronics in, each of these knobs. And before you put the actual knobs on, because they can be hard to get on and off, you want to do that last. Because even if you're careful and make sure that you got the volume and tone knobs where you want them, there's always that chance that you messed it up, made a mistake somehow. So I like to, I wanted to put those on, and I would recommend putting the actual knobs on after you're done everything else, and plug it in and make sure that your tone and volume controls are where you want them. And the reason for that is it's a pain in the butt to get the knobs back off, but without the knobs on, it's real easy to move them around if you got it mixed up. And I mean, that can happen. That can happen to the best of us. So, I didn't have that problem, but it can happen. The three-way switch just goes on. It's got a little plate that goes on. It goes through the hole, and a nut that holds it in place. The pickups were also pre-wired and have plugs on them. And I noticed most of the kits, not all of them, but most of them have plug-in pickups. And they have plugs on the wiring harness so that you don't have to solder anything. Now, some of the kits you do have to solder, but most of these, most of them have plugs. Now, keep in mind, if you want to buy pickups in the future, replace the stock pickups, and you buy something with bare wires, you can always snip those plugs off of the wiring harness end and solder them in. You can always do that later if you want to get that far into it, but most of these come with the little plugs on the pickups, or whatever pickups you buy, you can always, snip the plugs out of this and kind of Frankenstein it together with your new pickups if you want to keep using the plugs. Might not be the best way to go, but you can do it. The little strap knobs, they just screwed on, which, that one's starting to get a little bit loose. I'll have to tighten that up here in a little bit. You do want to check this stuff periodically because, especially when you just put it together, a lot of stuff kind of loosens up on you. And even if you're not building a guitar, stuff loosens up over time. So you want to check it. Almost everything on here is I believe, a 1/2-inch socket. So if you just keep a 1/2-inch socket laying around, you can just check and make sure everything's good. The plug, once again, it's a little 1/2-inch nut. It's got a plate on the outside. The plug goes, when you're in here, you put it into here, screw on the plate, and that nut holds it in place. You know, you do want to check that every once in a while. Those get loose even on guitars you buy at the store. So the pickups, there's a ground wire that goes around and is on this guitar particularly is grounded to the bridge. Now if you get a Stratocaster type, it might be grounded to the maybe the bridge, or some of them are grounded to that the sustain block on the tremolo, that kind of thing. This is grounded to the bridge, and it's basically a bare wire. On this, you have a couple little plugs that you kind of take a rubber mallet and beat them into place, into the holes. And what you did with the ground wire was kind of put it there and beat that that plug in, and that kind of holds it between the metal and the wood and grounds it. But I'm sure other kits are different, and they should have instructions to help you with that. So, by the way, if you do have to smack those in with a rubber mallet, be careful. I broke my finger, actually. This finger, I kind of missed the, kind of hit my finger. There's still an imprint right here in the paint, fingerprint, from where I smacked my finger on there and broke it. So be careful doing that. The pickups go in with these cover plates. They just screw in, really. Same thing with the pick guard. It just screws into place. Like I said, everything was pre-drilled, and other kits are going to be a little bit different. The most common kits I've seen are like Telecaster and a lot of Les Paul style kits. There are SG kits out there if you like this style, which I do, and a lot of Stratocaster kits. But definitely give it a try. This does not require a very high skill set to be able to do. It's made very, very easy. And looking at the other kits out there, they all seem to be about the same. Quite easy to do. Nothing all that difficult. Like I said, the biggest thing is keeping an eye on it after you're done. Make sure everything stays nice and tight. And like I said, put on the knobs last, because that way when you get everything together and get it strung up and everything, you can play it and make sure that the tone and volume controls are where you want them before you put the knobs on. The knobs just press on. They're not hard. But they press on really tight, so you can see, you can pull on them. They're not coming off very easily. There are tools you can use to remove them if you have to, or you could do the t-shirt method, which is take a t-shirt or a piece of cloth and slide it under and pull them off. But it's a pain in the butt. It's better to double check everything is in place before you put the knobs on. If you do it yourself, you're going to have to set your own intonation and adjust the bridge height and maybe adjust the truss rod and stuff like that. But I've done some videos on how to do some of that stuff. It's not hard. It's the kind of thing that really isn't that hard at all. But, I mean, even before you do all of that, just by getting it all put together, it should be playable pretty easily, you know? And that should demystify the whole thing. And most kits, I haven't seen a kit yet that's really over 200 bucks. This one, mine, was $80 or $90, I think. So it's not like it's a lot of money. And I know Thomann has shipping costs that have gone up because of COVID. God willing, they'll come back down after COVID's over. I was already buying another guitar. So I added that one on, and they didn't charge me any more in shipping. So it really was like the $85-ish that they charged for it. So, you know, and it was fun. And it really is a good introduction to a beginner of basic guitar stuff, you know, guitar maintenance, how to put them together. And because you put it together, you shouldn't have any problems upgrading it, you know? It should be because you've had it apart before. You're not going to be scared to take it apart. So that's my take on that. I would definitely recommend to anybody, even people that have been playing guitar a long time, try building your own, man. Get a kit. And if you put the kit together and you like it, try ordering parts, replacing some things, upgrading some stuff. You could end up with a really good guitar that's 100% yours. You built it, you painted it, it looks the way you want, it plays the way you want. It's your guitar, not just something you picked off a shelf. So guys, hope you liked the video. Click like, click subscribe. Hey man, click me baby, click me. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Go build a guitar. Go build a guitar. I'm telling you to build a guitar because it's fun, and because why not? Then you have a new guitar and it didn't cost a lot and you did it. And it's a really great hobby. And as far as hobbies go, it's cheaper than most. You know what I mean? I love you guys. All right. Peace out. Bye-bye, baby.